So welcome back to my channel. I must apologize, viewers, that it's been a while since my last video. Just a lot of things in life got in the way that I had to attend to, but I'm back now. And for this video, I'm doing something a little bit different. I had a viewer of this channel reach out, and he had a pair of MacNeil shoes that he wanted to send back to Edmonds Recrafting. So we collaborated together. I won't say his real name, but he's known as the MacNeil King. He's very much obsessed with the MacNeil that I cannot help but admire his passion. And since I do not own any pairs of the MacNeil, this gave me perhaps my only chance of including it in a video. So this is what they looked like when they first arrived. As you can see, the color is a really nice lighter burgundy shell. It actually looks closer to chili shell in my eyes. Perhaps the sun has faded it over time, or perhaps they were always on the lighter side of the spectrum. There's quite a lot of variation in the burgundy shell, and it is possible you could get a really light colored pair such as this. I've also seen pairs that were extremely dark. I personally prefer the lighter color like this because I think it makes the shoes more flexible in my eyes and a little bit less formal. Considering the date of these, which is probably from 1986, I think they're in pretty good condition overall. And you can see that there's the older Edmonds logo on the footbed. Now here is an interesting detail that I had never seen in an Edmonds heel before. This is known as the fisheye cleat or the owl eye cleat. I guess they added this for some extra traction back in the day. It's something that I have not seen on any other shoes, and I'm curious to what other models they may have put this on. One detail I've always liked about the Leeds shoe is that they used to include this little support padding thing on the inside of the arch area. It's called the arch saddle stitch, and just in case you forget, it's printed right there on one of the shoes. I can actually feel this when I walk, but it's disappointing that Edmonds has removed this from the newer Leeds and the MacNeil shoes. There's a somewhat deep scratch on this toe area here that you can see, and obviously there's a stitch that's kind of hanging out by the vamp. At this point, I was about to send them back to Edmonds, so let's see how they turn out in 2 months. Overall, just taking a quick look at these, I think Edmonds did a really good job on the Recraft. Looking at the sole, you can see the stitch density still looks very good, very much like how it did originally. It has a black reverse welt and black sole edge just like it originally did. Speaking of the sole, you can see there's a very nicely done JR sole, which is, in my opinion, the best kind of leather sole you can get. They still include the original dovetail heel. Looking at the bottom, I do not see any major flaws. You could look at this and find some little small imperfections, but none of this is going to affect the reliability of the shoe. Looking a little bit more at the detail of the upper, it looks like they did actually do a pretty good job of removing that big scratch that we saw earlier. There are some other little things here and there that they could not fix, but this doesn't matter, and in my opinion, it just adds to the character of the shoe as it ages. That loose thread is still there on the upper, but that's easy to take care of, so no big deal on that. You can see that with the rolls, they're still there. With shell cordovan, I don't really think you can get rid of those, and you should not expect those to go away once you do a recraft. Honestly, when I was looking at this pair, I was trying to find things to be critical of, but there's really not a whole lot. It actually looks very good. There is this blemish on the welt and outsole area, but this is the kind of thing that would not bother me because it's likely it would appear there after about 12 wears anyway. So overall, if I had sent these back to Edmonds, I would be pleased with this result. Now the question is, would I send these back to Edmonds? The answer would depend on the model as well as how important they are to me. If they were a pair that I could not ever replace and they meant a lot, I'd probably go with an independent cobbler that does really good work. However, if I had something that was just a more standard Edmonds model, such as a Walnut Strand or Park Avenue, I wouldn't think twice about sending them back to AE for a recraft. With Edmonds recrafting, you have to be aware that it's going to put a little bit more stress on the holes on the upper where it joins the welt. You see, Alan Edmonds doesn't have the time to sew the welt through individual holes using their hands. This would slow down the production so much that it would not be efficient for them. So they have to use the machines to do it, which is why it's going to put a little more stress on the uppers over time. This is why you can only recraft them 2 or 3 times with Allen Edmonds. But if you kept resewing them through a cobbler and they use those same holes, you can do it again and again for a longer period. Probably the biggest risk that I can think of with Allen Edmonds recrafting is that there is the possibility that over time you're going to lose volume in the shoes. Because they put those new holes in the upper, you're going to lose some of that space, and over time the shoes can fit more narrow to the point where the customer can no longer wear them. And each time you recraft through Allen Edmonds, it increases the risk of this happening. So that's something you have to be okay with if you're going to go this route. And another disadvantage is that you are stuck with the original welt color. You cannot change it to a different color, so in this case it would have to remain black. If you wanted natural or brown, you can't do it through Allen Edmonds at least. However, they will allow you to change the sole to something like Day-Night or V-Tread, whatever it is that you want, but the welt color still has to remain the same. This recraft was done with the Prestige option, which is $175, which I believe they just raised the price from $150, which is not surprising because everything is going up, unfortunately. However, even at $175, that's very reasonable considering what you get. You get a refinishing of your uppers, you get new shoelaces, you get shoe trees, you get flannel bags, and you also get the resole. So overall, it's a very good package for the price, although they do have a $150 option if you just need a basic recraft. I can also share that my independent cobbler resoles cost more than $175, so you might be able to save money if you go with Allen Edmonds and if you're okay with everything else that I already went through in this video. If you do go with an independent cobbler, make sure it's somebody who has a lot of experience resoling Allen Edmonds shoes, because if it's not done correctly, it could actually ruin your shoes permanently. So make sure it's someone who really understands the nuance in recrafting with Allen Edmonds shoes. I can share that I've used the recrafting service twice for Allen Edmonds in the past. The first pair I sent in were a pair of Clark Streets. The sole came back totally fine, but unfortunately there were some deep marks and scratches on the upper which were not there before. The second pair I sent in were a pair of Strand Mocks, and those came back totally fine. So what I'm getting at is Allen Edmonds recrafting is fine if you know what you're getting into. So now these are ready to be mailed off back to the owner. I want to thank the MacNeil King for his collaboration in this, and I hope in the future I can do more videos like this. It was fun. I know I said in the last video that I was going to review the Cheney boots, but unfortunately I haven't had enough time to wear them because the weather had been so hot. I will get to reviewing them later in the year, probably in the winter. Thanks for watching, and expect some more content in the near future.